Guys, welcome to another episode of My Life, My Mic with your girl Tasha. So today we're going to dive a little deep into my earlier struggles. And this is from having children early, not having, um, I was, when I had my first child at 14, I turned 15 the next month. It was just me. I was homeless at the time. So that was like one of my childhood, teenage slash adult struggle times. Um, I've mentioned before I had 4 kids by the time I was 19. Um, and I did this all. I had my kids' father with me for the beginning of their life until, of course, we all know how I caught them in bed with a woman. So that's when our relationship ended. So for a little time, I was a single parent, but the struggle came before, um, even before then. Um, One of my struggling times, I was 16 and I already had my daughter and I was pregnant with my first son. And um, I'm going to jump to when we needed a place to stay. So we needed a place to stay and we drove around. We had a U-Haul and we had all our stuff in the U-Haul. And at the time, I'm like, I want to say 6 months pregnant. I'm showing for sure. And we drove to where my father lived at, and on the next street, it was called Happy Tots Daycare. And they had some apartments above that daycare that was in that building. And so happily, I was on the top floor of that building. So when I went there, we didn't have no money to literally get the place. We were going there to talk to the guy to see if we could work something out, where as though we could move in first and then, pay him as we go. But when we got there, the unit was unlivable conditions. I mean, holes in the wall the size of my body, the refrigerator. It looked like someone hadn't been there in years. It was no electricity in the place. The carpet was just it was it was like a mud brown, but you can tell it's supposed to have been tan. Um, it was it was terrible. But unfortunately, that was all that we can get at the time. So I took my daughter to my aunt Donna, rest in peace. She kept my daughter that night and for about a week until I got the place and standards where I could bring my child there. So that consists of days and nights of work, pulling out the refrigerator, cleaning it out, the stove, the oven. Um, it was gas stove. Um, I figured out how to turn the electricity on. Well, my father showed me how, and I turned the electricity on. Um, they would come and turn it back off, but I would turn it back on as soon as they left. So I didn't pay a bill there, you could say. Far as the holes in the walls, I had my dad did drywall, so he showed me how to patch up the holes in the walls. Then for the carpet, they didn't have no carpet cleaner. I didn't have money to buy a carpet, so I took a broom and put bleach and I mixed ammonias where I couldn't even breathe. And I am scrubbing the carpet as if it's a floor. Um, and then I would brush all of the residue off to the balcony and just let it fall over. And um, after I did that, I would take a water hose and rinse it and go do it again until it was clean. And it actually worked. I mean, I soaked the carpet, but uh, you didn't step on it and your feet was dirty by the time I finished it. Um, and then it was oh my gosh, the mice. So that's why I have a bandana with rodents. I mean, I can't. I can't do it because I did it at an early age. And I'm talking about, I knew they were there because I saw the droppings and all that. So what I would do at night, well, first, I'm scared of them. I am terrified of mice. And I'm not going to be the one to like put on some big boots and stump it or trap it or even pick it up for the fact. I'm I, I'm a Virgo. Like, I don't do rodents, I don't do bugs, I don't do roaches, I don't do none of that. And that's why I keep a very clean home and try to stay with bright colors so that if one do appear, I can see it. And I'm the type that a bug would take over the room. Like, if I like one day I went home and I had white comfort on my bed and it was a cricket and he was just sitting there like, and I'm like, you know what, you got it. I just closed the door. Called my boyfriend, was like, when you gonna be home? He was like, well, I was like, it's a cricket. He's like, Tasha, you are not go in our room because of the cricket. I was like, I see you when you get here. The door will be closed, and I'm gonna lock it in there. So I'll put a towel at the door to make sure the cricket don't, So that's me. Take it or leave it. I mean, it's one of my fears that I'm trying to get over. And recently, I did hold a bug, so I did do that. So um that was that was cool, but that's just me. I cannot do anything with bugs or nature. I love nature. I'm learning to love nature, but I got to get used to the bugs. So back to the story. So I went to the dollar store, and this is, say, 1997, where we had those ashtrays that weighed about 2 pounds because they were made of glass. So I went to the dollar store that day and bought probably like 12 of them. So what I would do is I would line the ashtrays up around my bed. So at 1 in the morning, say I go to sleep about 10. So say at 1, I would jump up, flick the lights on, and see wherever a mouse was at and take the ashtray and I would throw it. So back when I was in Woodbridge, I was in softball. That really played part in my aim and how I was able to literally mutilize. I was mutilizing those mouse until I caught them all. Because you have to think, I went in, I closed up the holes. I did everything that I was supposed to do to not let any more get in, but I had to get the ones that were there. So this went on for a week. I'm not going to sit here and count how many of them I killed, but we're going to say over 25 to 30. And after the last night when I woke up, and mind you, I didn't just do this once. Like, I did it at 1 in the morning, and then I would do it at 4, right before, the sunlight came up, so that I would catch. And then my kid's father, when he, he would get up, he had to do the disposal part. And he was amazed with how many I caught, because you wouldn't see them like during out the day when I'm cleaning up and I'm getting the house together. Them, 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 their ass was gone. But they came out at night, and maybe they was in the stove, or because at that time I don't think I had the stove cut on yet. I was still working on how to do that, and I did figure that out too. Um, so after all of that, I was then able to go get my daughter and bring her in the home and feel comfortable that she wouldn't be harmed or anything of that nature by any rodents or anything. And the crazy part was that they didn't have roaches, which, roaches are real familiar in DC, but they didn't have those. They had the mice. And um, even after killing that many, I never overcome them. I'm still terrified of them till today. I don't like hamsters. Ferrets, like nothing in that family I can tolerate. Uh, During that time when I was living there, just to bring up another funny moment, my little brother had a snake. He had a big snake, the ones that's huge. And he would bring the snake to my house, but I stayed away from it. He would put it on my daughter. It was crazy. But one day he had the snake up my dad's house, and I think my father heat stopped working. So the snake went into the bottom of the oven, I think to keep warm, but he ended up frying his damn self. So when we got there for work, and I'm like, what is that smell? It smelled like somebody been cooking some meat. And my dad was like, well, ain't nobody been here. And we looking for the snake. And my dad ended up, how the bottom drawer come out where you could put the pans and stuff, your extra stuff at. That's where he was at. But he was wrapped up in like Cajun style. It is what it is. Okay, so back to the struggle. So that was one of my struggle moments. Another is I was living in Maryland at the time, and okay, this is a bit deep because I already had all 4 kids, and we were going through a hard time, and they turned the electricity off. And in Maryland, I couldn't do what I did in DC. They had, you could say, better technology meters, you can say, and I couldn't get to them. So during the time where the electric was off, this was my routine. 4 kids. I'm at home most of the time alone because their dad would be in the streets, so-called, trying to get some money or whatever. And I would get up at 5 before the sun came up, and I would run to the 7-Eleven and get their cereal, milk, oatmeal, or whatever the case may be. Because mind you, I didn't have electricity, so no food could be in the house where I can store it. So I would get up before they wake up, walk to the store, get their breakfast, come back. I would wake them up. Now my neighbor would let me run one extension cord from her balcony to my balcony so that my kids could watch TV. So I was able to do this without them even realize what we were going through by me having a routine for them. So they would get up about 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock. I would feed them breakfast. Then I would feed them breakfast, and then I would put on the TV, and they'll watch TV, and then they will take a bath. And then after the bath, they would I would get them dressed, and we would go outside, and we would play outside to lunchtime. At lunchtime, I would go in and I would make them lunch, which usually was something cold cut sandwiches, tuna fish, chicken salad, sometimes McDonald's, sometimes carry out. And then after lunch, we would go back outside and we would play all day.